afternoon and welcome. Glad you could join us today. So let's get going talking about Apple shortcuts on Go for Lunch for November 25th, 2025. Brought to you by GoFor Technology. I'm Roger Harmon, your host, and we're here to make your technology work for you. Looks like it's not working right now. There we go. It is National Parfait Day, a creamy, delicious indulgence. When was the last time you had a parfait? I know it's been a while for me, so let's make up for lost time and have a parfait today. So, shortcuts is a feature of all of the Apple operating systems, iOS, iPadOS, and macOS, and even watchOS. So it's a quick way to get one or more tasks done with your apps. And this is not just Apple apps, but also third-party apps. So you can create your own shortcuts, which include multiple steps, or you can use pre-made shortcuts from Apple and from other sources. So to use shortcuts, you go to the Shortcuts app. So the way it works is you have an action, which is the building block of a shortcut, and each shortcut comprises of a series of these actions. So actions are a simple step that performs a simple function, and then you can string these actions together to do complex shortcuts. So in your Shortcuts app, you have a listing. So you have a category that's all shortcuts, which contains all shortcuts. Then you can add a My Shortcuts category, which contains all of the shortcuts that you create. So that is not there by default. You just have to go and add that in, just like you would in adding a new folder. Then you have the Share Sheet, which contains shortcuts that are available in the Share Sheet of another app. So app developers can integrate shortcuts in their apps, and then those will appear in the Shortcuts app and you can use them. And then there's the Apple Watch shortcuts, which show you what you can do on your Apple Watch. And then last but not least is the App Shortcuts, which has all of the shortcuts available inside of each app. So not all apps have shortcuts, but many do have shortcuts that you can utilize. So you also have a gallery which has pre-made shortcuts, so you can use those without any action on your part. And you can use the search function in the gallery to find the kind of shortcuts you're looking for. So let's go to our demo. So we're going to go to shortcuts on the Mac because it's a little easier to see, but we will also look at shortcuts on the iPhone. So here is the listings, the categories that I talked about. Here we got all shortcuts. We have one Share Sheet shortcut, which is using Siri to talk to GPT. We don't have any quick actions. We do have some starter shortcuts down here. And then I created this folder, My Shortcuts, which has a couple of shortcuts in there that I have created. So it's a little different on the iPhone. So let's fire up the old iPhone here. And as usual, on this side is an actual iPhone, and on this side is an image of an iPhone directly feeding into the computer, so you can see what I'm doing. So here is what you would see. These are called tiles, by the way. And I just hit one. So I'm going to cancel that. Okay. So to get to your list, you hit shortcuts up here in the upper left-hand corner. So here's all your categories here. So same thing as we saw on the Mac. So here we see shortcuts included in apps. So again, not all apps have shortcuts, but many of them do. And as you can see, I have a lot of apps that have shortcuts. So you can include these in your shortcuts. So let's look at my shortcuts. So here is a shortcut that I downloaded, and the link for that shortcut is in the description below, and as well as Apple's explanation of how to use shortcuts. So make sure you look at those two resources to learn more. So this is a shortcut that shows you essential app settings. So there they are, but maybe you don't need all of these. So what you can do is you can press up here on the three little dots, and you can edit this shortcut. So let's say I don't care about Game Center. So I'm going to hit the minus sign right here, and I'm going to delete Game Center. And I'm going to delete all the actions inside Game Center. There's only one action, so I don't need that because I don't play games. But you see here we have all these other apps that I do use, so I can get to those settings quickly. So here we will click on Done in the upper right hand corner. So now when I use this app, Essential Apps, Apple Settings, and I want to go to Mail, there. I go right to Mail. I don't have to do a bunch of scrolling. And if I wanted to go down and change something, let's say my signature, right here, I could just go down there and make any changes I want. So that's a pretty handy shortcut. So let's look at the gallery. So let's go back to the shortcuts on the Mac. And let's go to the gallery. So here they have a bunch of different categories. Here's one that actually some of this is duplicated. But you can see here that you can turn text into audio. You can start a Pomodoro timer. That's a timer to use to get things done. You can ask how many days are left until a certain time. You can email the last image. And then you have different combinations of screen setups. So here's a split screen for two apps. A split screen specifically for Safari and Notes. Here's one for Photos and Messages. Here's one for Safari and Reminders. And So you can see that. So we're going to go back to the gallery here. And so here's one for NPR News. So if we click on this, it takes us into the NPR podcast, or it's supposed to. It did it a few minutes ago. So let's try that again. Okay, so that's not working. Let's try that on the iPhone. So we're going to go back to the iPhone. Okay, so this is not working right here. Okay, so what that shortcut would have done is pop up a podcast, pop up the NPR News Now, and play it.
28-point pro-Russian peace draft that was struck down in Geneva this week.
Like that. So here's what we want to do. I want you to look at the resources that I presented you. Look in the Shortcuts app. Look in the gallery and see if there's any that interest you. And then we're going to reconvene next week and create some shortcuts. So if you have some ideas of what kind of shortcuts that you want to create, bring those along, and we can learn together. So that brings us to questions or comments. If you haven't already, put those in the YouTube space that is provided. Do me a favor and please share the GoFor Gazette with your friends that use Apple devices so we can help more people. Good old Zoom Workplace has been updated to 6.6.10. So if yours doesn't automatically update, make sure you get that done. And if you haven't already, subscribe. Push that little button down below, ring that little bell, and you will know when we are live. And to each and every one of you, I hope that you have a blessed Thanksgiving. May the beauty and blessings of Thanksgiving bring warmth and peace to your home this season. So let's see what we've got here in the way of comments. Hi, Denny. Okay, and so that's an excellent question. It's the one that has the S on it. So let's see, do I have the App Store set up here? Well, let's just go to the Finder. So we're going to go to the Finder, and we're going to go to the App Store, which is right there. And we're going to go to Search. And the Apple Shortcuts app. And I see what you mean. Well, it should be on. You should already have it. This is really interesting. So I think the reason it's not here is because you already have it. So if we go to shortcuts and go to shortcuts over here, and let's see if we can see the logo. So what you should do is just, here's the shortcuts app. I mean, here's the shortcuts icon. So it's kind of a stylized S. So it's got red on the top and green on the bottom. But all you should have to do is go to Spotlight Search by hitting Command Spacebar, type in shortcuts, and you should already have it. So try that, let me know if that works. Okay. Let's see. Good morning, Stanley. So LJ says, can we customize the shortcut apps so that the photo app, for example, has a different image? So the photo app has a different image. Please explain that a little bit more. I don't quite understand that one. And Leslie Ann, did you find it by searching with Spotlight? So it takes a little while to wrap your head around shortcuts, but once you do, it's pretty easy. You just have to do it step by step. There are a bunch of places you can get pre-made shortcuts, so you really don't even have to create one yourself if you can find one that does what you want to do. So we're going to delve into that more next week so we can kind of get down. But I want you to play with it this week. Look in the Shortcuts app, look at the gallery, and see what's there. Try out a couple. And okay, you did find it. Good, Leslie Ann. So let's dig in, play with shortcuts. Have a happy Thanksgiving. We will see you next Tuesday at high noon for another Go for Lunch.